evening. It's 7 o'clock. We'll call this meeting of the Richland County Board to order for the month of May 2025. Ask the clerk to take our roll, please.
Carroll.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Kramer.
Here.
McGee.
Here.
Engel.
Here.
Hendricks.
Here.
Manning.
Here.
Gill.
Here.
Glassburner.
Here.
Woodhouse.
Here.
Turk.
Here.
Cosgrove.
Here.
Frank.
Here.
Severson. Williamson.
Here.
Cooey.
Here.
Fleming.
Here.
Brookins.
Here.
And McGuire.
Here.
You have a quorum.
And delivering the invocation for us tonight, Pastor Wayne Fife has joined us. Ask him to lead us, please. Stand.
Again, before I pray, I want to again thank you, as I try to do every year, for your public service and stewardship of your responsibilities here in the county. We, the citizens, appreciate it. Thank you so much. So let's pray. Father in heaven, we are grateful for the privilege of being stewards of the citizenship of this county, of the potential, the hopes, and the destiny of the people of this county. Lord, we thank you for the calling that you have delegated to these who serve you in these governing capacities around this table. Lord, I pray for your blessing of wisdom, that they would be able to discern what is good and righteous altogether for the good of the county. Lord, I pray for them that they would abide in the unity of purpose, even in the midst of all the various perspectives and opinions and ideas. Lord, I ask in Jesus' name that by your Holy Spirit, you would mold those ideas and perspectives and different opinions into the action that would prosper this county. Lord, we ask for the favor that we cannot give to this county, that is out of our control, but is in yours. Lord, we pray for the favor of your hand and your grace on our officers, on the sheriff department, the police department, on the EMTs, Father, on the fire department, on our schools, on our hospital, Lord, on the businessmen and women of our community, on our farmers. Lord, thank you honestly for the rain today. We pray for a good harvest this year after a couple of years of struggle for many farmers. Lord, we thank you for the privilege of giving everything that we have to the assignment of the issues that need to be answered and resolved and worked through tonight. Lord, come with your peace in the deliberations that are to take place. It is a privilege to honor you by working on behalf of our citizens in this way. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. We return to face the flag. I'll ask the clerk to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are we in compliance with the open meetings law, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the meeting is properly announced.
Very good. Thank you. We have before us a 36-point agenda. I have a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Cosgrove, second by Fleming. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Agenda is approved. And also circulated were minutes of our April 15th, 2025 County Board meeting. Does anyone have questions, clarifications, or corrections on those minutes that were circulated to you? Hearing none, the chair will declare those minutes approved as printed. Item 8 on our agenda, public comment. Do we have any members of the public that wish to address the county board tonight? Yes, go ahead, stand up, tell us who you are, where you're from, and you got 3 minutes.
Sure. So I'm Tony Johnson. This is my business partner, Nathan Phillips. We're locals here from Richland Center. I come to the last board meeting to discuss a purchase of some land for our tire disposal business. I'm not sure if you guys kind of remember a little bit about that. I see some new faces here. But what we're looking to gain is, you know, five acres minimum, I would say, up to 10. There's that spot down there below the county shop that we both took a look at. We understand the county likes to make money, and we're here to help you guys make money. So I'm not sure if you guys can answer questions under this time, but what we're looking for as citizens of this town is just a little help getting, you know, that last push forward. You know, our business is established, we're doing well, but what we really need is a physical location so we can open up to the general public. Right now, all we do is private businesses. Essentially word of mouth is all we do. We do a couple thousand tires a month right now, and we're looking to take that to, you know, tens of thousands of tires in a month. And I'm not sure if you guys have driven around Richland County, but there's a lot of tires that end up behind people's farms, in their sheds, and ditches and ponds, you name it. And to me, that's a disservice to this beautiful county because there's some great things here. You know, a lot of great farmland. A lot of people come in from out of state to come see this area. And for me, it's kind of embarrassing to have to go around and see all this, you know, garbage when I can go and do something about it, I'm gonna do. So if you got something to add that maybe I missed,
You very much.
but we're looking to get this on the agenda, or if somebody could get me some resources to talk to somebody about this matter, that would greatly help us.
Get your contact information to our county administrator so you can talk with them.
Sure, I got a card.
Any other members of the public that wish to address the board? Anybody online? Thank you. We will move on to item 9, which is appointment of a county board supervisor for District 3. We have had 2 individuals express interest in the seat for District 3. There are both of you with us tonight. I see Lee is here and Mr. Schoonover too. Very good. So Lee Van Landite and Randy Schoonover have both expressed interest. And what we do when we have more than one person interested, we offer you the opportunity to address the board for a few minutes. Just tell us a little bit about yourselves, why you're interested in the seat and representing your folks on the Richland County Board. And then after we've heard from you both, the board will then take a vote to select who's going to fill that seat, okay? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Lee, you know, let Randy go first. I saw Lee pointing at you something. Okay, well, we'll let Randy.
My name is Randy Schoonover, 70 years old. I've lived in basically the same house all my life. My farm is in Rock Ridge Township. I've had many various positions throughout my life. I've been the president of St. John's Lutheran Church and president of the Hub Rock Sanitary District. I've been a high school football coach. I'm concerned about the issues in Richland County. And I just want to say, Marty Brewer was a friend of mine. And I think I can replace his position, but I don't think anybody here will ever replace his dedication to the town's board. And Mary, pretty good health. And being here all my life, I pretty much understand the challenges that Richland County faces every day. And I think I would make a good supervisor. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Van Landijk.
Thank you. I have to echo much of what was said. I'm Lee Van Landijk. I put a D in there, otherwise I think Van is my middle name, and it's not. We've lived here, we bought property here in '89. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to read what I sent to everyone, just in case you did not have the opportunity to read it. I sent this to Derek. I'm sending you this message to indicate my interest in filling the vacant Richland County District 3 seat. We've lived here since 1999, since my retirement from teaching. And I'd like to read, I was elected to Richland County District 3 supervisor position in April of 2020. and served the full 2-year term. This was prior to the district line being changed in 2021. Marty Brewer, who was in district, I don't know if it was 6 or 7 at the time, he was the supervisor there at the time, found himself within my District 3 boundaries. He ran in 2020 to fill the new District 3 position with my encouragement. He asked me to run against him, but I refused his request because at the time he was the chairman of the county board, and I did not feel it right to run against him for that particular reason. There was a lot still to be done, and I did not want to challenge his established leadership. Until Marty's untimely death, other board members asked several times to consider filling this position. I found it necessary to decline that kind of offer due to the fact that I was serving as an elected member on the Richland School District Board. I didn't feel it prudent to serve on both boards simultaneously. Since that time, I have submitted my resignation for the Richland School Board. I am now free to apply for the vacant District 3 seat. I'm 81 years of age.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of that, but I am. I'm a retired teacher. As I said, I taught English and social studies. I've been a member of this board. Many of you know me from being on the board previously. And I'm asking for your vote, and I appreciate your applying also. So Marty was also a very good friend of mine. So I thank you for your time.
All right, we've heard from both candidates. The clerk has ballots to circulate. Do we need to write our names on these ballots, Derek? Yeah, we need, this is not a secret ballot, so you need to write your name on the ballot and then indicate Mr. Schoonover or Mr. Van Landijk as your choice for the vacancy.
I'm sorry.
Assistant counting the ballots. We've done that.
That calling?
Yeah, why don't you call?
Yeah, we got a Steve.
Yep.
Yep.
I can call it.
Vice Chair's gonna reach out to
Text it
anybody.
to someone, or he can just say it out loud.
Steve Carroll, who's that?
Want me to put it on speaker?
No. Again, make sure you write your name on the ballot so that we have the record of who voted.
Okay, so let them know. Thank you. I'm Steve Carroll, not a virtual line. So very collected.
But you don't even have a goal. Yeah, I know.
Will we be seating the new supervisor immediately?
Yeah, and then we'll take a 2-minute recess to do the old quick, and I print it off and go get that.
Sounds good.
You said we.
Please.
What'd you say?
As they're tallying, so I'll just remind you, we do presently have a vacancy in District 11 as well, which is part of the city of Richland Center. So We are advertising for that position now as well. You know, anybody that lives in wards 3 and 4 of the city, if I remember right. Just conferring with our administrator. I don't think we actually announced our vacancy for District 11 to the rest of the board. So Michelle Harwood did resign. Expressed that time commitments were getting to be too strong. So that seat is now open. We're seeking someone to apply its show interest in representing that district.
Then I have, two questions, so. 10 and 18. Great.
Okay, we have our result. Out of 18 votes, we have 10 votes for Randy Schoonover and 8 for Lee Van Landijk. So congratulations, Mr. Schoonover.
Thank you.
We're going to take a 2-minute recess to allow our clerk to get your oath of office ready and swear you in. And then when we reconvene, you will be seated as a member of the board. Thank you very much, both of you. Appreciate it. We will take a 2-minute recess.
What's that? I can sign them, but you can too. Doesn't matter.
Welcome, Mr. Schoonover, officially to the board. We'll continue with our agenda. So we're up to item number 10, appointments to various boards, committees, and commissions.
Have any
Nothing for this month.
this month?
We can move right past that one then to number 11, appointment of a Health and Human Services Director. That one I know we have.
Yes, that one we have for sure. So we, Ingrid and I interviewed 3 candidates, and chose to hire Stephanie Ronfeld for the position of the next HHS director. She is currently the Business and Financial Services Manager over there. So right now wearing 2 hats. But we think she would be the perfect choice for the next HHS director. So we're asking that you approve that appointment.
Do I have a motion from the board? Motion by Kramer, second by McKee, to appoint Stephanie Ronfeld as HHS Director, or confirm the appointment, sorry. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Stephanie. Item number 12, a resolution naming the former UW Richland Wellness Trails as the Marty Brewer Nature Trails.
This will be resolution number 25-30. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that you hereby name the former UW Richland Wellness Trails as the Marty Brewer Nature Trails. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 1 of 2025.
Motion by Manning, second by Cosgrove, and discussion.
You know, I appreciate the attention on this, but when we do something, we name a public property for a county board member. I think we need to be specifically clear about what the criteria of selection are. So Marty served the board since 2014, 4 of the almost 11 years. 4 of those he was county board chair, he died of cancer. Ann Greenheck joined the board in 1980. She served until 2012. For 20 years, she was the county board chair. Ann died of cancer as well. Don Steep was in this chair here for 12 years since his brother died in 2012. His brother had that seat before him. Don's dad took the county board chair in either 1935 or 1938. And the Seat family has that chair for either 87 or 88 years, with this 2-year period in the 80s when they weren't filling that seat. So as I think about criteria for this, I think longevity of service is worthy to consider. And I think Marty, with knowing who's a friend of mine and his humility, I think he would tend to agree.
Is there an action you're asking for specifically, or?
You know, the Don Seep story is one that would be great public relations for the county, especially in a time when it's difficult for to find county board members. To have an 88, 87 or 88-year run is a good one. So if we were to use criteria, I would argue for longevity. And I think I would recommend Don because he's living. He can enjoy it and it'll be a front page positive news story for us.
Is that a motion to,
That's a motion.
a motion to amend our present action? Am I understanding correctly? To name it in favor of Don Seep, is that what you're proposing?
Well, I'd like to hear some discussion before I make a motion.
Well, we're discussing a motion right now to name the trails after Marty Brewer. It's not on our agenda to establish criteria or anything like that. Not that we could never put that on the agenda, we certainly could. But that's not what's on the agenda for tonight.
Well, I would move to table until such time criteria can be established. That would be the motion.
Motion to postpone consideration of this item. Do I have a second for that? Second by Supervisor Hendricks. And you want to postpone it to a time certain or indefinitely?
I would think by the
Mr.
next.
Chair, may
meeting-
we have discussion on this?
We will, just trying to clarify what his motion is.
Could be squeezing.
Sorry?
Soon as possible.
Okay, so till next meeting. Okay, all right, discussion.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts and I understand the intent behind it. I don't believe, I mean, I did not put this motion forward or come up with this idea. However, I understand the intent behind it to be Marty Brewer's passion for, as it states in here, supporting programs, causes for county residents, including the preservation of that wooded hilltop and those trails. He talked about it frequently. I think that was really the intent behind it. We could certainly discuss having criteria for these kinds of things, but I think discussing longevity as the criteria could lead to some other concerns. Because I think that service on a board, it's not so much about the longevity, and I am not denying that that is a wonderful service for somebody to do, or that that's a remarkable story of the one that you listed. But I don't think that that's necessarily the most worthy cause. I think it's what somebody desires for the county and what they are working towards. And that is not to diminish any of the people that you mentioned, but I would argue that longevity would not be the only quality that I think would be a criteria if we were looking for criteria.
Thank you, Supervisor Glassbrenner. Further discussion? Mr. Gill.
Yeah, I think it's also important to recognize the timeliness of the award that we're doing. And Marty was here just a little while ago and we all worked with them, you know. So I think that's part of the criteria too, is that the more connected that we are to an individual, especially one that has expressed a preference for the thing that we're naming for, you know, I think that's part of the criteria. And, you know, like I say, I think I would be okay with a seat trail too, but I think the Marty Brewer things resonates with me.
Further discussion? We have before us a motion to postpone consideration of this item till our next county board meeting. All those in favor of postponing, say aye.
Aye.
Those against postponing, say aye. Aye. That motion is now defeated. So back to our original resolution that is before us. The renaming of the trails. Any further discussion on that item? If not, all those opposed or all those in favor of this resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Resolution is adopted. Thank you. Right, item number 13, an ordinance to rezone a parcel in the town of Dayton.
This will be ordinance number 25-7, which is amendment number 618 to the Richland County Code of Ordinances, chapter 119. The Richland County Board of Supervisors does hereby ordain as follows. The following described 28.49 acre parcel in the town of Dayton is hereby rezoned from ag forestry to ag residential district. This ordinance shall be effective upon passage and publication and is being offered to you by the Natural Resources Standing Committee on May 5 of 2025.
All right, you have heard the ordinance. Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Cooey, second by Mr. McKee. And discussion. Mr. Caro is online with us. Do you have any comments on this, Mr. Caro, as chair of the committee?
No comment. Is Kathy there at the meeting?
No.
I did not prepare any comments for these.
My understanding is this is another one of those cleanup ones.
Yes, there are a few in this month's agenda.
Okay. All right, so this is another zoning cleanup one that we've dealt with a number of those over the past couple of months. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the ordinance, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Ordinance is adopted. Continuing on to item 14, an ordinance to rezone a portion of a different parcel in the town of Dayton.
This will be ordinance number 25-8, amendment number 619 to the Richland County Code of Ordinances, chapter 119. The Richland County Board of Supervisors does hereby ordain as follows. The following described 2.3848 acre parcel in the town of Dayton is hereby rezoned from ag forestry to residential district. Again, ordinance shall be effective upon passage and publication and is being offered to you by the Natural Resources Standing Committee on May 5 of 2025.
I have a motion on this ordinance. Motion by Mr. Manning, second by Mr. McKee. And discussion? Further cleanup?
More further cleanup, yes.
Okay, very good. Any other questions about it? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Adopted that ordinance. Item 15, a resolution approving the town of Ithaca's rezoning of a portion of a parcel.
This will be resolution number 25-31, a resolution approving the town of Ithaca's rezoning a portion of parcel listed there. You have the legal description before you. This resolution is being offered to you by the Natural Resources Standing Committee on May 5 of 2025.
Okay, you've heard the resolution. Do I have a motion, please? Motion by Kramer, second by Gill. And discussion on this one.
This is one where it's a formality that it's zoned there, but it has to pass through our committee.
Okay. Ithaca does have their own zoning, but it has to pass through and be approved by resolution by the county board, so. Any questions on this one? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Item 16, a resolution approving the town of Rockbridge's rezoning of a portion of a parcel.
This will be resolution number 25-32, a resolution approving the town of Rockbridge's rezoning a portion of parcel 262711-1000. Again, you have the legal description before you. This is also being offered by the Natural Resources Standing Committee on May 5, 2025.
Motion for this one, please. Mr. McKee, second by Supervisor Kramer. And discussion for this one?
Again, this is one where there's town zoning, but it still needs to pass by the board.
Town zoning has approved it, so we're just stamping it on the way by. Any further questions? Is all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Item 17, report on petitions for zoning amendments received since the last county board session.
I am not aware of any, but again, I did not talk with Kathy.
All right, so similarly, I will assume for item 18, we're also not aware of any petitions recommended for denial?
Correct.
Correct. Very good. All right. Just like to note that we're now halfway through the agenda. Making good time. All right, item 19, reports, our county administrator update.
So the first thing that I want to bring up to you is the wage scale. Back in December, when you guys approved the wage scale, there were two of them that were presented. One was presented on the screen, the other one was in your packet. So the one that is on the screen is the correct one. The incorrect one, the only difference is on the right-hand side, or excuse me, left-hand side, you'll see the new grade. And it has the 5 empty spaces, and then it starts with 1 down by B. If you look up at the first one, 1 starts at the top. Nothing in the format or the meat of the wage scale is different. It was just brought to our attention that there were 2 different ones presented, and we wanted to make sure that the board was aware of what the correct wage scale is. So this is the correct wage scale that was presented and that we are utilizing. Again, the meat of it is the exact same. It's just the grade number that's different. Talking a little bit more about the wage scale, we are starting the ongoing maintenance. That was part of what we talked about. When this was done last year, it was a big financial ask of the county board, and it was much appreciated that this was approved through the budget. But what the goal is every year we will review a third of the job descriptions, really see where they fall with the market, see if we need to make adjustments on the wage scale. This way, then it's all happening, it's not all happening at once and it's spaced out. So that has started. All the employees who are getting their job descriptions reviewed have received a copy of their job description and a copy of the form that we want them to fill out. Really what they're looking at is, are there any additional duties that they have, and are there any duties that have been taken away? That's really the meat of it. Those will then come to me for review, and we will send them back to DDA for them to do that final analysis. So that is something that we are working on right now. My next update is the finance director. So as you guys know, PAA did the recruiting for us. Last Friday, the deadline ended. We received 8 applications. We have reviewed them, and we will be offering interviews to 4 different individuals. So we're hoping this gets us a finance director. So the interviews are planned to be for next Friday. On Thursday of this week, we have the next Lou Everett group meeting. For those of you who attended the first one, as a recap, we really talked about our mission statement. There were a couple of options that in the end we came up with, and I know they're going to start out and have a little discussion at our session on Thursday about the mission statement and where do we go from here. So that was helpful. I did present that to department heads last week so that they had the ability, those who weren't there, to review it and gave their input on what they preferred of the 2 different mission statements. This week's session is going to be on conflict resolution and crisis communication. So we're hopeful that everyone is able to make it. It's from 9:30 to 11:30 on Thursday. You can either appear online, or we will have it set up in here for people to participate, but they will be online. Back on April 21st, we started using Tyler Technologies for payroll and retired the AS400 for processing of payroll. Overall, the transition did go well and everyone did get paid, so there was not anyone who missed out on a paycheck. This was also the first day that Melissa Wickert was our new payroll and benefits administrator. She has been working very hard the last month, working with Tyler, really getting to know the system and working with their staff to really kind of hammer out the bugs in the system and making sure we can maximize use of it. Really do want to say a thank you to Melissa for all that she has done, along with Justin Siemens, Michelle Brown, Taryn Weber, and Kayla Cataract for their support during the transition, because all of them did spend a lot of time, and Melissa, Michelle, and Justin continue to spend a lot of time on that transition. So that's been going well. Our next step with Tyler is to work on the time and attendance process. So we are now running payroll in there. Next, they're going to show us how we can get everybody set up to be able to clock in and clock out via either their phone, their computer, or a time clock, pending what we set up for that department. As of right now, all departments will be doing that except for Sheriff and Pine Valley. Each of them have systems that they currently use that incorporates scheduling. And so that's where we don't have that set up with Tyler yet. Once we get done with time and attendance, we will look at the scheduling module, and if it will work, we will bring sheriffs to that. If it's not, they'll continue with the current system we have. And the configuration will begin in July and implementation will start in September or October. Want to let you guys know that one of the boilers in the courthouse did go out. It did happen in the spring, and so we have some time to get that up and running and working before winter comes. The boiler was put in the 80s, so it truly has reached end of life. And Randy is currently working on getting bids for that project. Last thing that I have is the city has applied for and were approved for an innovation planning grant. The purpose of the grant is to analyze the most effective operational structure for the Simons Recreation Complex. So when they applied for it, we had a meeting once we found out that they were approved with Simons and Mike, with the city and with the county to really talk about the great opportunities this could bring us. This will really explore public versus private ownership, the potential acquisition of different facilities, alternative management by another entity possibly. Really, the goal is to identify a structure that ensures long-term sustainability for Simons and maximizes the benefits to the community. Really, the ultimate goal is to see if there's a way we can manage Simons and do what we're doing with Simons better. So that is what I have for now, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for the administrator? Ms. Hendricks?
So is the training, I thought the training was on the 21st? Like tomorrow?
Yes.
Wednesday, the
Oh,
21st.
it's tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
But that's okay. I was just having a hard time.
I'm sorry.
I work Thursday. I'm like,
Oh, no, sorry about that.
all you got going on, if that's all the only mistake you make, I'm good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Item 20, discussion and possible action, approval of MOU with the Richland School District for campus gym use.
So we don't have an actual resolution for this because we're just approving the MOU. So the MOUs the MOUs in your packet, and I will turn it over to you folks to describe.
Go ahead.
All right, so back in March of this year, the school district presented to us an MOU for use of the gym in a collaboration. The campus reconfiguration committee had concerns with the agreement. Mr. Wendell and I met and we made some changes to along with Mr. Hardy, made some changes to the MOU and took it back to campus reconfiguration. Took it back to the school district. He had some concerns and requested that it be taken back to us for full approval before it goes to their school board. So things that he had requested after we had drafted it and we did a little bit of adjusting on there. He did request more guidelines related to the use of the building and scheduling. So we did add in there that they will meet at least quarterly. He had questions related to the custodial services and really wanted clarification that they were not solely responsible for keeping the place clean. And so we added verbiage in there to say that everybody is to leave it in the condition they found it in. They have some, would like use of the weight room. Based on how the structure of the weight room is, it would be very difficult to give them access to that. They wanted to use it for a golf simulator, but there is mechanical access in that room. And so if we allow them access, that could also impact the mechanics of the building. So this was taken back to campus reconfiguration and executive and finance and sent to you for your approval. This is something that can be rescinded at any given time. I think we have a 30-day back out if anybody determines it's no longer appropriate.
And there was conversation involving Simon's staff as this was put together, so they've had input. And I think, is it fair to say, Mike, that you and Steve Board feel like you guys can work together to get this figured out?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. All right, questions? I'm sorry?
I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve the MOU by Mr. Cosgrove, second by Mr. McKee. Discussion on the MOU?
Is there a,
Go ahead, Mr. Frank.
is there, it's great to say that things will be left the way they were. That seldom ever happens. Who is the final entity of saying, hey, this needs to get fixed? Who's going to be watching over that? Is that the county and I guess that's why I want to make sure, because I've never seen it left the way it was. People do their best, but something's broken, something happened. Where's our bottom line on that?
I mean, the language just says it'll be left as you found it. If, if people are giving it their best attempt and it's, maybe an item that was over here is over there now, that's not exactly. If it becomes a consistent issue where one or the other party is leaving it completely unusable, then I think we look to either amend or terminate the agreement.
So a broken piece of equipment or something like that just gets reported to who?
To us.
Okay, that's where I was at. We're the bottom line then.
Yes.
Comes back to us, right? Thank
Yeah,
you.
and everything in this MOU is to codify that it is them using our building
Okay.
at our discretion, I guess, for lack of a better term.
And they are doing what as payment? I mean, they're mowing,
They will be mowing the soccer field because I know that is a part of what they're looking for is the use of the soccer field. Other than that, and cleaning up after themselves. But it's sitting empty right now, so we're really just trying to get
use of.
some use of it, yeah.
And the school district has scheduling software that they can use in coordination with Simons so that, Simons knows when it's available for them and can utilize the facility without conflicting with the school district's plans.
Thank you.
Mr. Woodhouse.
So if for example here, a community organization wants to use that request goes to the school district, right? Or no?
I think at this point in time, we're thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we're thinking that it wouldn't be available for a community entity. It would be available for Simons to use or the school district to use.
Okay. So if that were the case, then they would work with Simons or the district to sanction.
I would say
that.
Simons, because ultimately they would want to have their event sanctioned as a Simons event. And then once it's a Simons event, they just can use the gym.
And okay, thank you.
Other questions? Mr. Goodover.
Yeah. I'm all new here, so I'm just jumping on board. But I have a question of, say there's a function from the school using the gymnasium, especially if they wanted to use that weight room. What if there is an injury? Who has a liability on something like that?
You're my new favorite. So that's the heart of what this agreement was meant to address is liability. So basically, whoever is making primary use of the building is accepting liability. The mechanism that we use to address the weight room issue, the golf simulator, is I basically put something in there that says, if we determine that health and safety necessitates that an area become restricted, we get the exclusive call on that. And so Randy had initially, again, pointed out properly, and I've been back there, it's scary. You don't want kids wandering through a boiler room and ancient mechanical and stuff like that. But if something, if there's a pit that opens up or something like that, we also maintain the right to say, all right, this area is now off limits. So if somebody violates that, then they would probably on an individual basis assume liability for anything that happens to them.
It's just in today's world, you just got to be very careful with that liability.
Is that true?
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes, Mr. McGuire.
When you use the word "we," okay, who's "we"?
When I'm using it,
Means that one person, two people, committee? When you say "we"?
I use it to describe the county. If I'm sitting in this seat, there are other seats where it's, but yes, so this is the parties to this agreement are the school district and the county. And when I say we, I'm speaking the county's position.
Would the public school have the right to use this for public event? In other words, if they can host an event there, like a basketball game, a wrestling match, would they have the ability to then open it up for the public and charge an admission?
They cannot charge fees for any use of it. So they could hold a game there, they just couldn't charge admission to it.
And that's in the number one terms and conditions.
They can have a game there, but charge no admission.
Correct.
Okay. Are they paying a fee themselves?
No.
But who's paying the utilities?
We are.
We have, the county board has to pay the utilities?
You
What
get
is
the
it?
bill for your share. Yeah.
Me personally? Was worried
Each of
about-
us, yeah.
Had a bad year. Okay, what kind of money are we talking? We're talking about utilities for that building, it's good sized building.
The building specifically, I'm not sure.
I don't know if we have it broken out that specifically.
It's 10 grand for the campus.
Property collective. And that's, Melville Hall, that's all the other buildings.
Okay.
I don't know if we would have a number specifically for just that building because it's not metered that way, so.
Of course, we would pay those utilities regardless of it being used or not.
My understanding is this was more or less an arrangement that existed before the UW pulled out. And so to address the liability issue and make sure that we're protected, we pursued this MOU, so the school can continue to use it.
Okay, my only concern is if I don't think we're in a good position if we allow the school district to dictate to us whether or not we can use it again.
And that's exactly what this prevents. They are beholden at all times to the county's final say, essentially.
Okay. All right.
And again, Mike and Steve feel that they can make that work, but the analogy I use is from when I used to do a lot of divorce law. You've got a marital settlement agreement that guides when you guys are not getting along. If you guys are getting along, you can agree to whatever you want and everybody's happy. But if it comes down to it, this puts us in charge.
Any other questions? Mr. Gill?
Yeah, I guess my preference would be to turn this over to Simons rather than this is, to me, is an interim step to do that in the long run. And then Simons is offered to pay for utilities that would not be on a county,
The county is Simons, so.
But that's only part of it though. So, but there's a foundation there that's shown great ability to raise money through fundraisers and grants, and they're got an expansion plan that they put out that we all saw that I thought was really impressive. So, and I know Simons is bursting with a lot of folks and could use the space to expand it. And they're talking about expansion anyway. So I guess for my preference, I would love to see this say, hey, why don't we go right to Simons and have them negotiate with the school district, and then that puts us more in a position of control as we are part of Simons.
And if you don't mind, one of the things I think that we could definitely think about if that's something that they are looking to do long-term and can show that funding source and show that it's not going to fall on the county. At that point in time, I think the MOU could be rescinded and we could start talking about how do we get to that. But I don't think they're there right now to be able to show that they could fund it. And they might be able to fund the monthly electrical costs, but it's also when you need a new roof, where does that money come from? When you need to do some of that maintenance, where does that come from? If one of the bathrooms stop working and there's water spraying everywhere, how do we fix that and where does that money come from? And I think that's part of the concern with just saying, hey, Simons, here you can have it. Because ultimately it does fall on the.
All those questions still apply to the school district is in charge as
Yep.
well. So I'm just saying is that I think we're in better shape with Simons putting some of the bill versus the school district, which doesn't have some of the funding capacities that Simon does. So I understand there's both of these exist, but I guess my preference is that Simons.
Other questions, comments?
Well,
Mr. Cooey.
that was a good point that was just brought up. The more it gets used, the more it's gonna need work at the end of the day. And if we're not generating any revenue from it, I get it's just sitting there right now, we pay the light bill, but we don't have people in and out. We don't have to fix the door. We don't have to fix this. We don't have to fix that. So that's where I'm kind of hesitant because everything costs money and in the county, we're not in the best. And we don't generate a lot of revenue, I guess is the best way to put it. So this is an opportunity to cover costs. not make money necessarily, but cover costs, operating costs, because there's always operating. Doesn't matter what it is. So that's my.
I think you raise an excellent point that, long-term, we need to figure this building and all the other campus buildings out, of course. For the moment, this serves the purpose of, creating an environment where both Simons and the school district can be using the building as it sits there. For now, we're not anticipating anything major to it in the short term, but we do need to figure out a long-term solution because it's not getting any younger and it will have needs for sure.
In the short term, if tensions were to develop between Simons and school district, I'm just wondering whether or not schedule-wise, the schedule should be reviewed maybe by the natatorium committee or something, keeping that in a process that makes sure that all the parties are accountable.
Is the school district represented on the natatorium board?
Well, we've been talking about it. We had, Steve came once, but we've been asking for that.
I
I don't think they're there yet, but I think they would be for this.
We had talked about board makeup, and that was in anticipation of the school district being an actual partner in the operation of Simons, which is not the proposal right now. So there is no formal representation on the board of the school district, on the Simons Natatorium board. There is currently, they're trying to realign it. So there is a member from the foundation on the board, because there had been previously a UW Richland representative on the Simons board. Right now that seat is vacant because it doesn't exist anymore.
I would just like to point out that I know you mentioned that this was kind of to codify what had been an agreement between the school district and UW Platteville and Richland. So they have not been able to utilize that building or the soccer fields in particular for a year now, which they would have and could have used those. And so I guess my thoughts would be, and we've had this bouncing back and forth for a while now, that I would like to see this get passed and done with so that it can at least be utilized. And I appreciate that there is the provision in there that does cover us if something were to break in the building, if there were going to be some sort of major cost at that point, we could readdress the whole situation at that time. And I understand that we do need to figure out like future funding and what we're going to do with that building. But this is like for the short term, at least we can be utilizing as has been stated. And there is an easy way to get out of it or to stop the agreement if we need to in order to address anything that might come up. So in that sense, it seemed like a win to me.
Also, it can be amended. So if we don't want to get out of it, but there's an issue that we want to make sure is addressed in the future, it does have a provision allowing it to be amended.
Which could even be a payment schedule in the future.
Could be.
First, we'll see if it works.
Other questions?
I have a couple more points.
Yes.
Mr. Schoner brought up a very good point about liability, but my question is, if a young man or young girl gets hurt, breaks an ankle playing basketball, or somebody drops some weight on their foot in the weight room, okay, I'm assuming that the Richland School District has all the liability, medical coverage necessary to take care of that child's injuries. Is that a good assumption?
The intent of the document, yes.
The intent of the document.
So typically we request proof of their insurance. So once we sign this, before they can use it and before we would get them the keys, we would say you have to turn in your proof of insurance.
Okay, one other thing, and I'll bet it's not on that agreement, because I'll tell you what is other school districts in this county? Would we be accused now of the county board allowing the Richland School District to use a facility to enhance their athletic program that we don't allow it to Ithaca? Who else is in the county? What other schools do we have in the county? Kickapoo? Right? What if they came to us and said, we want the same advantage that the Richland School District is getting from the county board?
I think we would definitely listen to them and have a discussion with them and see if it's something that we could make work. I think the busing of kids to the the gym would be very cost prohibitive, and I don't think they would necessarily be interested in that. But if they did, if they called us up tomorrow and said, hey, I'm from Riverdale and we want to utilize the gym, I think we would have to then sit down and talk about, is that going to be an option that would work or not?
Do you think that we should, in the early stages of this, us make a contact with these other schools that are in our county, what's going on with Richland School District, and offer them the same advantages?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, may I just point out that this, again, had been something that had been going on between the school district and UW Platteville Richland. If other school districts had wanted to utilize it at that time, they could have had the discussion then. It's not like this is changing anything.
Point.
And if I
Mr.
may,
Frank?
if any of the school districts that want, I think they can call Simons and say, hey, we want to do something. And Simons can schedule it. I don't think they're being limited by anything. Their
And other
options
school
are there.
districts do utilize Simons for
Yeah,
something.
that's all there.
And again, this is not intended to be a long-term thing, so it's not like we want to build relationships for years of future usage, so. But obviously, the Richland School District has a proximity factor. They're just across the valley.
Across the street?
Yep. Other questions? All right, all those in favor of approving the MOU, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Have two opposed? Mr. Cooey and Mr. Gill. The MOU is approved. Item 21, resolution to approve the creation of a deputy county administrator position.
Resolution number 25-33, now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the creation of a deputy county administrator. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 13th, 2020.
For the resolution, do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. McKee, second by Supervisor Kramer. Discussion. Sorry, Trish.
Sure. So prior to my official start date, Chairman Turk reached out to me and requested that I investigate appointing someone to be the deputy administrator. And this really supports the board asking the question of what can be done to support the administrator. I think both Clint when he was here and Candace when she was here and Derek, even though he was just interim, really indicated that having that extra support would be very beneficial. John Hockemer also talked about that and that it is a lot of duties for one person. So I'm asking upon the advice of Chairman Turk that we create a deputy county administrator position. It would be about 10 to 15 hours per week. It would be appointed to a person, not to a position. So it wouldn't be that the HHS director would take on these duties. It would be assigned to a specific person. So if that person left, then there would be a different person appointed into that position. It would be set at 10 to 15 hours per week. So we would really have to look and see if we can find somebody who has the ability to take on those additional duties. How I set the wage was at 60% of the administrator's salary based on working the 10 to 15 hours.
And we've had a lot of discussion about this in executive and finance as we were working through the hiring process of our administrator. When we had our deputy interim, we had interim administrator, we had also established a deputy interim administrator. And having not had that before, found that in practice, it worked out really well. It was good support to the administrator, created, some coverage. It created another layer of consideration and thinking through things. So it was our recommendation from executive and finance at that time that that's really something we should look at doing moving forward. It is not intended that this is a position that we advertise for and hire. This is assigned as a duty to somebody else on top of their existing job.
And how I see this working is this person would take the lead on a couple of different projects or one project. Just to take that off of my plate, I would still be the primary point of contact, primary one to work on HR issues, employee issues, working with department heads, doing the department head meetings, doing these meetings. But it would help to just take the lead on a project or two. And it would also give me that support if I take a day off, have a vacation, that somebody else is available to answer questions if there are things that need to be addressed immediately.
Supervisor Glassboro.
Just a logistics question with what you just said. So if that person is to take the lead on a project or two, do you anticipate then that they are also briefed on or have some general knowledge of the rest of it? Because as you say, if you're gone.
Yes, I think they would most definitely have to be aware of everything that's going, or at least almost everything that's going. Yes.
And you think that that's that will be a reasonable ask for the 10 to 15 hours?
Yes, I think so. I do. For now. Big picture, no. I mean, there might be more that's needed in the future, but I don't know. I'm only 30 days in. For now, this is what I could see as being beneficial.
So you're thinking of an internal candidate.
Yes.
That's gonna put pressure on whatever department they come from. Have you thought about what the pressure might look like?
A little bit, but I needed to get your permission to do this before I really start digging in deep to do that. But yes, we would have
Probably
to.
be additional cost for support system there as well. Possible.
I think the hope is that it wouldn't, because then we shouldn't be. I think if we're getting to the point that we have to hire an assistant for my deputy, then we're not really setting up structure appropriately. And that's where I'm gonna really need to, before I appoint someone, really look at who has the bandwidth, whose office does. There are some that maybe could, there's others that maybe couldn't, but that's something that I'll have to start really exploring and looking into. Some people might say I can work 50 hours a week and I'm okay with that. Others will say, no, it's just not for me.
Other questions? Wendell.
So who appoints this person? That's not clarified in the resolution.
I think the intent was it would be appointed by the administrator.
Okay.
Is that an
Subject
amendment you need to make?
confirmation.
Well, similar to other administrator appointments, well, we confirm department heads. I don't know if there are other appointments that we confirm as a board, are there?
So, but I'm wondering if.
So it might be appropriate for a deputy administrator, though, for us to confirm that.
Well, so for like elected officials, treasurer, they just kind of appoint a deputy and there's no confirmation process. The reason I interject here is in the specific instance where, for whatever reason, the administrator, and knock on wood, Trish, is incapacitated. Statute would not allow the deputy administrator to simply become the administrator in that instance. So I just wanted to make that clear.
And I don't know that we would want that to happen either. So.
Okay. All right. So the intention is to allow the administrator to appoint their own deputy.
That's what we had talked about. So do we need to make an amendment to reflect that, do you believe?
I think it would be better to have it more clear. If I can't figure it out and reading through it. Then,
yep.
Just for those who may come after.
Okay. Where would the logical place in the resolution be to include that? Maybe after therefore be it resolved. Be it further resolved that.
I don't know that it would need to go into the resolution itself. I think it would go into the job description.
Okay.
So there were just essential duties and responsibilities, minimum training and experience, means of appointment. And it would just be spelled out there, and that way you don't need to amend the resolution or rewrite anything.
Very good. Supervisor Glassboro.
So when he's talking about that, it brought up another question for me. In the event, so not incapacitated, but let's say our current administrator resigned, again, knock on wood. But would the intent of this then be that this person, because it's appointed by Tricia, that's why I'm asking, would this person then serve as our deputy administrator, or would that be up to then the board at that point if we're not confirming this?
In my head, I'm thinking the deputy administrator serves at the pleasure of the administrator. So if the administrator departs, whoever takes the administrator's place would have the ability to appoint their deputy.
Okay,
That's how I'm.
so we would still be appointing that interim and this would not be, okay, that was just to clarify
The
that.
board has the exclusive authority to appoint the administrator. So yes, you could say, hey, you've served capably as a deputy, we appoint you, but it would not be automatic.
Okay,
Right. We'd have to go through a process similar to what we did when Candace departed to determine, okay, are we appointing an interim? Are we going to leave it vacant? What are we going to do?
okay, thank you for the clarification.
Mr. Frank?
So if there's a problem with the deputy, and they're also an employee, they also have another job, but they're doing this job, is there a needed structure to say, hey, this isn't working out, you're no longer deputy? Is there a structure we need to have for that?
There are two built into the system. The first is the administrator can say, you know what, deputy, you're not doing what I need you to do to fulfill this role. I am de-appointing you, revoking your appointment. The other is the same as any other employee in the county. You tell her to fix it, and if she doesn't, you fire her.
Okay, but that deputy position, then that wouldn't reflect back on their existing position that they're doing for, they're adding hours to this. It's just the deputy clause of it.
If someone excels in their current position but falls short on the deputy position, then yes, this doesn't tie the two together or anything like that. There could simply be a negotiation and they could resume their former duties.
Well, because most
Mr. Cooey.
likely it could be an elected official, so you
It's
don't
possible.
have a choice. We can't fire the elected official per se.
I would need, certain offices are incompatible. So I would need to, if you're looking to do it, like, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Ms. Hendricks, go ahead.
So before we had an assistant administrator, so what's the?
We had an
difference?
assistant to the administrator.
Yeah. So what's the difference that now we're calling it a deputy? I'm just curious.
The assistant to the administrator was created as an administrative position, and this is not. This is a deputy to fulfill certain duties as prescribed by the administrator or to provide backup to the administrator when he or she is not available. It's not an administrative assistant type position at all. Mr. McGuire.
Maybe we should not use the word administrator at all. If it's going to be a clerical position.
It's not a clerical position.
So is it an administrative position?
Say, yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
But not administrative.
So if it's going to be an administrative position, what's going to be the pay scale?
That's the resolution.
All in there.
Set at 20,000 per year, and that is based at 60% of my salary, working 10 hours per week.
Other questions? Yes, Ms. Kramer. go ahead.
20,000 per year. Is that on top of what they would already be making with their current position with the county?
Other questions?
I have a question. So
Yes,
it
go ahead.
says 10 to 15. So you just said that it's 10 hours. What happens if they end up working routinely 15 hours?
And sometimes they could work more, sometimes they could work
But it's still that
less.
same amount.
Yeah, and I would ask whoever does it that we really track their hours, we take a look at it, because we do need to figure out, is this enough, is it not enough? Even though it might not be enough, there might not be anything we can do about it, but that is stuff that we will be looking at and tracking.
Anyone else?
One other question.
Go ahead.
Your part-time employees do not get benefits, correct?
Correct.
Now, what if you appointed someone who works for the county part-time? Because one, they'd have time, and they agree to it. Would that put them to where we would have to start paying them benefits?
Yes, hit one. Yeah.
That was a possible outcome, I guess, yeah. Any other questions? All right, voting on the resolution to create this deputy county administrator position. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Resolution is adopted. Thank you. Item number 22, resolution approving Richland County contracting with Ayers Associates for geospatial services.
This will be resolution number 25-34. Now therefore be resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the county to contract with Ayers Associates, Inc. for geospatial services, and that the county administrator is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the county any documents needed to carry out this resolution. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage. And this is being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on April 8 of 2025. Also was approved at Natural Resources Standing Committee on March 3rd of 2025.
Got the resolution to have a motion. Motion by Glassbrenner, second by Mr. Manning. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, the wording in the last whereas paragraph does not look quite right. Could you guys look at that?
Yes. It does seem to be. Yeah.
Are we missing?
Oh, yes, after
Mhm.
43,000. And then it has N.
Or maybe stay on.
Well, it doesn't clarify where the remaining 43.
Right. Do we know what goes there?
Is that in our finance pack? Do we have more
Yeah.
information in the finance?
Yeah. Can you pull up the
Okay.
finance?
Consult a different copy of the resolution, see if we have the correct wording in that other copy.
I think the thing is taken out of there was the hosting is previous. Concept. We approved it.
Got three different
So-
people clicking for it here, so.
So there is an adjustment on their, Julie Lynn's property lister. I'm part of the land information grant, committee. And there is the remaining 43,124 and $2,900 for the second year hosting fee to be paid from Fund 48. That's not included on there.
Can you repeat that?
Yep, I can read it again. Whereas $33,613 will be paid from the 2024 Land Information Grant. $38,710 will be paid from the 2025 Land Information Grant. And the remaining $43,127 and the $2,900 for the second year hosting fee will be paid from Fund 48. That's the way it should read.
Right, so I think the question with the resolution was, when this was first presented, that hosting fee needed to be clarified. So the hosting fee of $2,900 wasn't clarified. We then had them send the new contract back, so they added sections 4.3. Gotta find it here, there's quite a few numbers. They added sections, 4.2 C, D, and E, where they addressed the $2,900 for the first year for the hosting fee. So I actually called the folks that did the contract to clarify that a little bit because it was discussed in the meeting. So as a part of their normal contract, they typically don't include those hosting fees as a part of that boilerplate template for their contract. They did include those sections I noted, but they didn't include the fee because for the first year it's $2,900, and then it can vary a little bit for the second and third year, which I think is why it wasn't on that resolution. So for the first year, it will be $2,900. It could change a little bit for those other years, which is again why I think it was not on there as a whole. But that's what was on there on the other resolution, but is not on this one. But it will be, and I have the email from them. They did note that the First Amendment, because anytime you include those hosting fees, they have to amend that contract that they have. So that's why they don't normally put it on there. But they did tell me on May 7th at 1:09 PM that the First Amendment for that contract would be $2,900 for the hosting fees that Julie mentioned, but it could very well change from the second and third year. So that's what's not on there, but will come as a contract amendment once this contract's approved.
So do we need to include that first year in this resolution that we're passing now?
We can add it if you'd like me to put it back on there. I mean, it's gonna be an amendment to the contract.
Yeah,
so-
well, it's already doing
Yes.
the resolution somehow.
Correct,
It doesn't
right.
have a full sentence there, so. So we could add the language that and the 2,900 hosting fee
Yep.
and from Fund 48.
Because that also clarifies the 43,000 as well, correct?
Yes. So to have someone willing to make that motion to amend?
I'll make a motion.
I'll move, make that
Kramer,
motion.
second by Cooey over here, to make that amendment to add the language that says and the 2,900 hosting fee and specify that they're both paid for by Fund 48. Everybody clear on the amendment? Any questions on it? All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, so back to our resolution as amended. Any other questions on it now that we got that wording straightened out? If not, then all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The amended resolution is adopted. All right, item 23, a resolution relating to the county's contribution to the cost of town highway bridge construction required by Wisconsin statute section 82.08.
This will be resolution number 25-35. Now therefore be resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the county shall pay the following amounts as financial aid for the following bridge or culvert projects in the following towns is mandated by Wisconsin statute sections 82.8. You have the list there before you with the town of Bloom, Ithaca, 2 in Ithaca, and 1 in Marshall. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication and is being offered to you by the Public Works Standing Committee on May 8 of 2025.
You have the resolution, motion by Mr. Cooey, second by Mr. Manning. Discussion. This is something statutorily we have to do.
Every year.
Yep. Likely continue to be an item on our agendas, as apparently, according to our highway commissioner, the state's doing inspections on more and more of these bridges and culverts. So we'll see some more of these coming in. But we have the 4 projects before us for approval. Any specific questions or not? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's adopted. Thank you. Item 24, a resolution approving updates to the sheriff's department addendum.
This will be resolution number 25-36. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that they do approve the updates to the sheriff's addendum to the Richland County Employee Handbook. Be it further resolved that the county board chair and county administrator are hereby authorized to sign the updated addendum. In accordance with this resolution, be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage and publication. This being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 13th of 2025.
It's a resolution, motion by Mr. Manning, second by Mr. Cosgrove. Discussion, Clay, do you want to?
Yes, so this was kind of a overdue update. The bulk of the update has to do with adjusting it to the 12-hour shifts that most of my staff work now. Along with that, adjusting vacation hours to kind of go along with that. And then we did some sick leave cap language in there as well. So that's kind of the bulk of the adjustments in the addendum. We're overdue with a lot of the changes that we've made in the last few years. So just kind of bringing it up to date.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
one other big addition to that was the hiring practices was previously an ordinance. And so we built that into the addendum because that was removed from the ordinances when the codification happened.
Thank you. Any questions on this? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Resolution's adopted. Item 25, a resolution relating to canceling stale county checks.
This will be resolution number 25-37. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the following county checks drawn on Richland County Bank are hereby canceled. You have the list before you in the resolution. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage. This being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 1 of 2025.
Do I have a motion on this resolution? Motion by Mr. Cooey, second by Mr. Williamson. And discussion.
These are just checks that have been outstanding and not cashed since the year 2023. We have to do this every year. It's by state statutes. So the checks that you see reflected up there are the ones that have not been cashed after reaching out to the people that have questions.
A little over $1,000 worth.
What are the majority of the checks for? Are these fair?
Yeah, mostly fair checks. Yeah, on average, I would probably say 80% of those.
That's been my guess. Yeah.
Other questions?
$316
I'll help them.
If there are no other questions, then all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Item 26, a resolution relating to canceling stale tax certificates for the tax year 2012 and making an appropriation.
This will be resolution number 25-38. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for canceling the following tax certificates for tax year 2012. You have the list before you in the resolution. Be it further resolved that the $239.05 is hereby appropriated from the general fund to the canceled tax certificates account in the 2025 county budget. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passing and publication. It's being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 1 of 2025.
All right, this is our resolution. To have a motion by Kramer, looking for a second by Manning. And discussion on this.
So this is done every year annually by state statute. So this year would be for 2012. Most of these properties that are listed are contaminated. So the county does not take those by tax deed. So that's what's reflected up there.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That. Item 28, a resolution approving the application for an acceptance of a land and water conservation fund or LWCF grant for the 27, sorry, jumping ahead. Item 27, a resolution approving amendments to the 2023 comprehensive outdoor recreation plan.
This will be resolution number 25-39. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that they do hereby adopt Appendix D, former campus tennis basketball court renovations, and Appendix E, former campus wellness trails improvements to the 2023 comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage of publication, again being offered by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 1 of 2025.
It's our resolution. Do I have a motion, please? Motion by Mr. McKee, second by Mr. Cooey. Any discussion?
Oh yeah, I know. Dave was excited to get to the grant part.
Yeah, I just want to.
Excellent. So I'll go through this quick, but we need this in order to get to the grant. So basically, in order to get the next two items on your agenda, the grants, we have to have projects in the court plan. The comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, the county has one that was made in 2023, so we do have a valid plan. However, neither the tennis courts nor the trails are in the plan, so it's not eligible for those grants. So simply, what we need to do to make us eligible for those grants, we can do a simple amendment with a resolution, including those in the plan. So if you do approve this, then we are able to go and make the grant application. So this doesn't tie you into anything. Again, this is just your comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. Some things are going to happen, some things aren't going to happen, some things that aren't in there we're going to add later. So anyway, there's no financial implication to this.
Great, very good. Any questions on this? Those in favor of updating the court plan, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Now, we can get to a resolution approving the application for an acceptance of a land and water conservation fund grant for the renovation of the former UW Platteville Richland tennis / basketball courts.
This will be resolution number 25-40. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that they do hereby approve the Simons Recreation Complex Director to apply for and accept a 2025 LWCF grant for renovations of the tennis and basketball courts of $150,000. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passing and publication. This being offered to you again by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 1 of 2025.
Great. I have a motion by Mr. Manning, second by Supervisor Glassbrenner. And discussion.
All right, so this Land and Water Conservation Fund is managed by the DNR. It's a 50-50 grant, 50% grant. So our application would have to be matched by 50%. We aren't looking for any tax dollars to match that. So we will be looking at donations to match that down the road. This is a grant that would be awarded if we did receive it on January 1st, 2026. And then we have 2 years, we have till 2028 that we have to spend the money and get the project completed. So if the project is awarded or if the grant is awarded, we would have the money as early as 2026, but we'd have 2 years after that to raise the additional 50% or to turn it down. For example, if we only raised $100,000, we could do a $200,000 project. So we can take 50% of whatever we get to match that. So we do have some flexibility in that way. So the tennis courts are in very poor condition. They do need to be replaced. We have estimated about $300,000 to do that. It's basically using the same footprint. We've talked to the school district about what they would like to see because they use those courts quite a bit, as opposed to tennis versus pickleball. So we've talked to their instructors. We've also talked to the local pickleball club. They're interested in doing some fundraising to help out with it as well because they want to use it as well. So that's this went to the natatorium board in March, I believe, when they had sent forward.
Questions on this? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to item 29, a resolution approving the application for and acceptance of a recreation trails program grant for improvements to the former UW Platteville Richland Wellness Trails.
This will be resolution number 25-41. Now therefore be resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors. They do hereby approve the Simons Recreation Complex Director to apply for and accept a 2025 RTP grant for improvements of the trails up to $40,000. Be further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passing and publication. This is being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 1 of 2025.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Gill, second by Mr. Williamson. And discussion.
So Cheryl Housley, who's the grants specialist over at the DNR, really likes me because I do this a lot, where I apply for more than one grant at a time because I figure as long as you're doing the work on one grant, it's a lot easier to do more than one grant at the same time. So you got to do all of the coordinates and everything. And it's just a lot easier to do two at once. So this is the Recreational Trails Program grant. It's also managed by the DNR, very similar to the LawCon grant, the one that I just spoke about. The biggest difference is that this is a 20% match. So we only have to match 20% of the 80%. So natatorium board, we talked about a $50,000 or $100,000 project. We decided on a $50,000 project, which would be a $40,000 grant. We would match at $10,000. This again would also be through donations. The foundation already has a portion of this available to match that. Same timelines. This would be awarded January 1st, 2026, and we would have 2 years to raise the additional money to get the project completed. This would be for signage and benches on the trails. We're not looking for anything that would cause any maintenance down the road. We've got 10 sites selected for wayfinding signage, which would be along the 2-mile path. Basically, right now we don't have any wayfinding up there. It's not a super difficult trail to get lost on or anything like that, but it would allow us to get professional mapping up there and have maps up there and have directions up there. Another 14 signs, which would be interpretive signs, and that would allow us to put up signs, for example, invasive species, upland forest, some description of different forest animals or different forest species that we have up there. So more of an educational piece. And then the third thing, we mapped out about eight sites for benches that would be overlooks of kind of the city and the valley there. So those benches would go in there. So that would come in at about $50,000 for all of the mapping services, the signage, the installation, and the benches and the installation. And again, that $10,000 match would be through donations.
Questions on this? Mr. Gill?
My question is, are we currently maintaining those trails? Or who's maintaining them?
The highway department is maintaining them.
I think it's time for a tour. You've been out
For a walk.
Oh, it's beautiful. Just a whole different view of the city. Tour.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Thank you. Did approve earlier naming those trails, so if we have a naming ceremony or something, that might be a great opportunity to come out and actually check them. All right, item 30, a resolution accepting donations to the Simons Recreation Complex. Good thing you didn't sit down.
Resolution number 25-42, now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the following donations to the from the Simons Recreation Complex Foundation to the Simons Recreation Complex are hereby accepted. You have your list of 6 different items there. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 1 of 2025.
Here's the resolution. Do we have a motion? Motion by Mr. Cosgrove, second by Mr. Cooey. And discussion.
And I guess I could say, how I said, the DNR likes that I do more than one grant application at a time. Derek likes that I do more than one resolution at a time because they're easier to do. I can do 5 of them at once and just change a couple of words. So anyway, this is again coming back to you for approval of donations to the foundation. These are foundation donations. It's a total of $9,113. So door fob readers, what those are is we have 24/7 keyless readers outside our door. Some of the members pay extra to be able to get 24/7 access to the facility. The current readers that we have are not supported. In fact, the last time we did a computer upgrade, the county had to come down and put an older version of Firefox on there so that they would work. So what these new fob readers do is they read with our new computer software program, so that which reads our active members. Right now, our active members, we have to manually go in and go from one computer software program to the other one to see who is currently active with their membership and has paid their memberships. And if they haven't, then we have to manually take them off. Now we're able to put them all in one, the same software, so the software will automatically do that. If they haven't paid, then their key doesn't work and they can't get in the front doors. So marketing postcards, that was for Senior Expo, marketing for Simons. 3 television sets, which will be large screen to announce things that are going on in Simons, things that are coming up in the community. Those are info screens. Floor scrubber, that's one of the larger ones. That's a replacement floor scrubber. We have one that no longer works, but that would be replacing that. Also, another replacement of the pool basketball hoop that broke, so this would be just a replacement for in the pool. And then a second retractable hose reel, which is out on the pool deck. So again, that total donation was $9,113.
Any questions on those donations? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Foundation for the support. Item number 31, a resolution accepting spring 2025 grants for Simons Recreation Complex programming.
This will be resolution number 25-43. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors, the following grants to the Simons Recreation Complex are hereby accepted. You have your 3 grants listed there before you. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 13th of 2025.
So resolution, have a motion from Mr. Cooey, second from Supervisor Glassbrenner, and discussion.
Again, like Derek said, all 3 are down there. I don't want to talk too long if you have any questions on them, but American Canoe Association, we're starting a new kayak class. So it's a $500 program just to allow us to start that new program. The Campus Foundation did give us $3,000 for free swim lessons. We've been working with the Richland School District for the last year. I'm getting free swim lessons to all 3rd graders. They are working, it sounds like they do have it in their curriculum for next year, for the next school year, that all 3rd graders will get free swim lessons. Won't cost the school district anything, won't cost Simons anything, we'll still get paid through the grant. And then we've also got free transportation, so $3,000 will cover the lessons for all third graders in the district. And then the WR Employee Family Foundation, that's for the, if you don't know, I've worked with them a lot in Baraboo. Flambeau Company is one of their companies, but Seats is a company that's under the Flambeau umbrella, and Seats is here in Richland Center, and they do donate to communities that do have their companies in their communities. So we're able to get $10,000 from them, and that will cover the transportation from the Richland Intermediate School to Simons. So there's no cost to the families, there's no cost to the school district, there's no cost to Simons. And then, so the parents don't have to worry about getting transportation after school. It's during the school day, it's part of the curriculum. So we're getting free swim lessons for them. We're also looking to expand this program so we can include other school districts in the county as well in the future. So we can hopefully work with Ithaca and St. Mary's and Riverdale, some of the other districts in the county. So we're working on building that program up so we can continue to do this in the future.
Any questions on this one? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Mike. Great. That brings us to item 32, a resolution approving a proposal from Venture Architects for additional county facility assessments.
To be resolution number 25-44. Now therefore be it resolved that the Richland County Board of Supervisors accepts the facilities assessment study proposal submitted by Venture Architects at a cost not to exceed $40,000. Be it further resolved that the facilities assessment will be funded from Fund 93, excuse me. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passing and publication. This is being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 13 of 2025.
Heard the resolution. Have a motion, please. Motion by Mr. Cooey, second by Mr. Williamson. Discussion.
So there are 3 buildings that have yet to be assessed that the county owns. It's Pine Valley, Simons, and the ambulance building. The ask is to approve Venture completing the facilities assessment on these so we can have a full picture of all our buildings, all our facilities, and what is the work that needs to be done. Highway was done in 2024, so they have a recent assessment completed.
If I may, Mr. Turk.
Yes.
One of the basis of having Venture look at the emergency services building here is there are some major structural concerns with the new construction on the front of the building that we did try to address with the builder and architect for this, and we're met with a lot of resistance and not a lot of resolution. We really need an outside third party to do a structural evaluation on those parts to make sure that we have the ability to have these conversations with the builder and architect.
Thank you, Mr. Jessup. Other comments, questions? No, it's not just the ambulance garage we have concerns about. There are things at Pine Valley that, even though it's maybe not that old a building, that are starting to wear and wear out, which you would think wouldn't be happening, but good to have another set of eyes come in and give us a full rundown on what we're dealing with out there. And then, to get that complete picture, I think, as we look at some significant decisions in the long term about how we utilize our county buildings, having a complete picture, I think, would be very good for us to guide our decisions and guide our planning processes. Other thoughts or questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Item 33, resolution approving a wage differential for bilingual staff.
This will be resolution number 25-45. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for staff who can speak English and Spanish to earn a bilingual wage differential of 75 cents per hour. Be further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage and at the start of a pay period for staff receiving the bilingual wage differential. This resolution is being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 13 of 2025.
That's our resolution. Motion by Mr. Manning, second by Supervisor Glassbrenner. Any discussion?
So this is something that is currently set up in the HHS addendum, but it is not set up anyplace else in the county. So we're looking at consistency across the county. We do find across the courthouse, HHS, that there are a need for individuals who can speak both English and Spanish. We do spend a lot of money on translators and language line and different mechanisms so that we are able to communicate with those who only speak Spanish. So we are looking to have the 75-cent wage differential added to all positions where it is relevant that you need to translate for your job. And build this in across the board instead of just being an HHS thing.
Mr. Frank.
How are you gauging bilingual abilities?
There are online opportunities, like online testing that you can do. So we did look into that.
I think there need to be some minimum level set.
Yes.
Otherwise it's.
Your questions? There are none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Resolution's adopted. Right, item 34, correspondence.
Nothing from you to report.
Report, all right. Future agenda items. Anyone would like to see on the next county board agenda?
But we don't have Tiger. You're going to get a hold of him tonight.
I can do some research with him. Yeah, I can reach out to him.
So,
They'll have to go through the.
right. But I'd like to ask questions.
I think we talked about that in natural resources. I think it's supposed to be on our agenda for next.
Okay. Any other topics for future agenda? Yes, Ms. Hendricks.
I was just gonna mention, I thought I had difficulties with my email, but I realized that people that are using Gmail, since, I don't know what happened, but now they're going in my junk email. And I thought I was checking it, and I checked all the time, but just of recent, for some reason, when that one thing would come up, say, do you want to approve it or whatever, that's not doing it, and now they're going to this junk thing. So it's a good idea to probably. Yeah.
For us to know. All right. Any other future agenda items? Not. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Manning, second by Mr. Gill and several others. All those in favor, say aye. We are adjourned.